be ignorant. You won't be caught off guard, man. It says to keep watch, spy, to watch closely. See? Look up. It says in a Strong's Dictionary, it says to peer into the distance. That's what we do. That's why we're constantly looking at different news articles, alternative news sites, seeing what's going on around the world. We're peering out into the distance. Now we have it a little bit easier through the access of the World Wide Web, man, which the Lord set that up so that we don't have to travel all across all these different foreign lands and hop on planes to do all these things to see what's going on around the world, man. You have all this alternative media, alternative news sites, and they're giving information to where we can filter through, look at it, and then give you warning and show you how those things fit prophetically through the scriptures so that you can be warned, man. Okay? It says also, I set watchmen over you, saying, hearken to the sound of the trumpet, but they said, we will not hearken. And that's 2/3 of our people. They don't want to hearken. They don't want to listen, man. So therefore, you know, like I said, hey, when they get caught off guard, hey, the blood's not going to be on our hands because we're doing our part. We're giving you the warning. We're letting you know what's going to happen before it happens now. All right? So let's look out into the world, see what's going on, man. Let me pick some websites. Let's go here and see what's going on. Look at this. Russian authorities threaten nuclear revenge after drones explode over Putin's residence. Look at that. And what does that deal with? All right, let's go there. See? It's dealing with World War III, man. You know, and we know that Russia, America, Israel, China are all major players in this Third World War, which is going to happen. Which ultimately, you know, that's the spirit of the Lord gathering these nations to war, because he's looking to sit to judge all these different nations and their armies in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, which is over there in the Middle East. All right, that's the only reason why the Lord is gathering up these nations for war, for this final world's war, because that's where Yahushua is going to crack those clouds and intervene in the midst of that war, you know, so that he can flex, so that he can take down all these different nations and be the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, man. It tells you that he's going to have all the crowns of all these different nations upon his head, man, which is why he's referred to as the conquering Lion of Judah, man. Remember, the Lord told the disciples, if this was my kingdom, then would my soldiers fight. Well, guess what? When Yahushua was here 2,000 plus years ago, it wasn't time for that. But this time, when he comes this second time in this angelic force, he's not going to meet them as a man. He's going to come in all of his splendor and all of his glory, and he's going to want all the smoke with all these different heathen nations and their armies, man. So let's get this. This is Joel chapter 3, verse 9. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, which are the heathen nations, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, let the weak say, I am strong. And you see that happening. That's why you see nations like China now. Now you got Iran is building up enough. I've read an article, they have enough uranium now for like five ICBMs, man. And you already got China and Russia with supersonic missiles that America doesn't have any defense for. So the Lord is preparing war. And with this assassination attempt on Putin, this is just more of the chess pieces being moved in place so that the Lord can finally bring this Third World War, man. You know? So call hello Yahweh Bashem Yahushua for that. So it says Russian authorities threaten nuclear revenge after drone explodes over Putin's residence. And like they was trying to, America was trying to say that, oh, Putin did it to himself, which I don't believe that. We know that this was all a move and a call by the West, America, to get Ukraine to do that, man. Which is ultimately the Most High, because the Most High is the one that's mustering the hosts to the battle, man. The Lord wants these nations to gather for war. Like I just read in Joel the 3rd chapter. Let's read a little bit of this. It says, overnight there were 2 separate strikes over the fortress in central Moscow where Putin allegedly lives. Flames and smoke were seen coming from the Senate Palace at 2:27 a.m. and then a second blast occurred at 2:43 a.m. The Kremlin said the 2 drone attacks were thwarted by Russian electronic defenses. Footage from that night shows a flying object coasting toward the Kremlin before exploding into flames. Putin was not inside the building when the drone struck. The Kremlin reports that Putin was not injured. See? Russian authorities demand strikes on Ukrainian buildings. Let's see. It says, former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev is calling for the elimination of Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky. After today's terrorist attack, there is no options left except for the physical elimination of Zelensky and his cabal, Medvedev said. The leader of the Just Rush sees that everything is just all leading to war eventually, man. Because can you imagine if Russia or Iran or one of these other enemies of America did that to the Biden at the White House, man? It would be World War III right now, on and popping and cracking, man. You see? So we can see, man, hey, things are getting hot. Everything is moving towards the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and it's going to end ultimately in nuclear annihilation, especially of America, man. Look, Ukraine denies any responsibility. Of course they would, man. Because why? They ultimately are getting their playbook and their calls from the West, from America, man. Look at this. It says, under Russia's nuclear doctrine, the president can use nuclear weapons when their country's very existence is at risk. At the moment, there is no evidence that the country's very existence is at risk. The immediate hardline accusations against Ukraine, without a full investigation, hint that overnight drone strikes could be a false flag. But the point being is that all these things are inching this world closer and closer to war, man. Right? It says, verse 11, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. You see? And this is why the Lord is gathering all these different nations for war, man. Because he's ultimately going to send them there to be judged by Yahweh Shai when he returns. Makes his second coming, man. You see? So everything is all in the hands of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And that's why I read earlier, look, this is all the will of the Lord, man. This war that I'm reading about is going to happen. There's not going to be no nuclear deproliferation. There's not going to be no peace talks. There's nothing that's going to stop World War III from happening, man. Because it's all the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, man. Because Yahweh Shai is prophesied to come back in the middle of that of this Third World War to judge all these heathen nations, man. Let me show you that. Yep, there we go. Let me get this. All right. And this is the day that we're looking for, man. Matter of fact, let me finish this first, and then I'll go to that. It says, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get ye down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for the wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, which is the valley of Jehoshaphat, which means Yahweh Shaphat, which means the Most High's judgment. And he's going to send his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, and the holy angels to execute this judgment upon all these heathens and their armies over there, which is ultimately going to take away their power and their sovereignty, man. Because what makes nations have sovereignty and their ability to govern themselves is their right to defend themselves and their military. When the Lord is gathering all these different superpowers, Russia, China, Iran, all these nations that bend the bow with these massive armies down there to the Middle East, man, to where he's going to sit to judge them and ultimately to destroy them and take away their power, and that's how they're going to be subjugated and be the footstool, of Yahweh Shai, man. So let me get this. All right? So that's why, when we see things in the news as far as World War III, hey, we rejoice because we know ultimately how it's going to end, man. It's not going to end well for the heathen. This is Revelations 19:11. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and that white horse represents the chariots, what the world ignorantly calls UFOs, which are the chariots of Israel. And this is what Yahweh Shai is coming down upon, man. You can read that in Acts, the 1st chapter. I'm reading it right here in Revelations, the 19th chapter. You know, it says, and I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness does he judge and make war. You see? So the Lord's coming back to judge and to make war upon all these different nations, man. Starting with Esau, Edom, and all these different military of all these heathen nations. Why in Joel the 3rd, it said, let all the heathen be wakened. Because the Lord, Yahushua, won't smoke with all the heathen, man, and all their armies. That's why Yahushua is coming back in all of his glory with his army and the holy angels with him, man. And it says he saw heaven open because the Lord's going to crack the clouds, man. He's coming the same way that he left. Matter of fact, let me get that real fast, man. This is Acts 1 and I'll start here. Acts 1 and 10. It says, and while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, 2 men stood by him in white apparel. This is when Yahushua left the 12 disciples, man. You know, this is how he left. The same way he left is the same way he's coming back. They're going to tell you. It says, and while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, 2 men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same, it says the J word, but we know his name is Yahushua, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. You see? And what I'm reading right here in Revelation 19 is this being fulfilled. It hasn't happened yet, but this is the angel letting them know, look, the same way Yahushua left, he's coming back in that same fashion. But this time he's coming to judge and to make war and to annihilate all these heathens and their nations and to establish his kingdom here upon earth, man. It says, I'll read it from the top again. It says, and I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. See, so heaven opened, just like when he left the disciples. He's coming back in that same fashion. It says, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness does he judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. See? Because he's coming down to dethrone all these different heathen nations, starting with Esau, Edom, which is the so-called white man, and the Chinese, the Japanese, Ammon, Moab, the Russians, all these different nations and their militaries, man. He's coming to dethrone all of them. That's why he's going to have the many crowns upon his head, because it represents conquering, man. And that's how it was in the ancient world, man. When you conquered all, in the ancient world, when different kings conquered different nations, they took the crowns off of their king's head and they put them upon their head, man. It showed you that in the movie 300 when the guy with the message came to Sparta. He was on the horse and he raised up on the horse and he pulled all those crowns on the head of those skulls out of the bag. He was coming there flexing power and the ability and all that, showing how he conquered all the other nations. Xerxes did. Well, Yahushua is coming to do the same thing, man. It says, his eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of the Most High. You see, showing you that the blood is symbolic of how much destruction and death he's going to bring upon these different nations and their armies, man. It says, and the armies which were in heaven, which are the angels, followed him upon white horses. Talking about the chariots, UAPs, what they call them now, unidentified aerial phenomena, which are they used to call UFOs, which are the chariots of Israel, and they've been making themselves seen and known very frequently in these last couple of years, man. They've always been here, of course, but lately, they've been showing themselves, man, because the Lord is just giving them a prelude of what's to come. That's why you have the Space Force. That's why you have the Pentagon releasing all these classified documents dealing with the so-called UAPs, man. Which some of those are, Esau's technology. Some of them are China's technologies, Russia. But the ones that are for sure and that can't be answered for and that can't be identified and that can't be touched are the chariots of Israel, man. Those are the angels inside those vehicles, man. Flexing and showing Esau, look, man, your end is nigh. It says, and the armies which followed him in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, clean and white. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of the Almighty God. You see? And on his vesture and on his thigh, a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. You see? And that's why, this World War III is being pumped up. these nations are being gathered, and the talks of World War III and nuclear missiles are being talked about in the news because it's all part of the plan of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man. See? So let's see what else is going on in the news. So that's that. So hey, war's in the air, man. All right. Let's see what else we got. Let's see. Here we go. Pure evil. Leading U.S. medical institutions are deliberately confusing toddlers and converting them into transgenders. Remember, I read that earlier, man. How the earth is how wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, man. You know, like I was saying a few minutes ago, how this country is corrupted and wicked, man. And now they're attacking the children. They're confusing their genders, confusing them, you know, at a very young age to be ultimately groomed for pedophilia, man. So it's pure evil, and the society is pure evil, man. That's why, you know, hey, brothers and sisters can, man, try to homeschool your children. Or you know what, I'm just praying that something major happens to where we ain't got to send our kids back to these school systems, man. Because now, here in California, in the different states, man, they're passing laws to where if you buck up against it or you try to interfere with the government trying to, you know, flip-flop your child, or you go to the school board meeting and have something to say against the curriculum, you can be fined or even imprisoned, man. So they're doing everything in their power to try to take, you know, the parental authority away from parents out here, man. And it's pure effing evil, man. See? Biden lied again. More banks are failing after president told Americans worse was over following collapse of First Republic. Yeah, because all this there's a plan by these elites to totally do away with the dollar and to bring you into a digital slave system, man. You know? That's what that Fed now is all about. And that's what ultimately these CBDs are all about, man. Programmable, controllable money, which is going to be only issued to you by your government, and attached with it is going to be a social credit score. You know, and it's just going to be a total digital enslavement mechanism, man. To where, you know, if you want to get your UBI, you want to get your daily credits, you want to get food and rations and whatever you need to survive, you're going to have to do whatever the government tells you to do, man. And if you speak out or if you tweet something that they don't like, hey, they'll be able to isolate you out of the system. You know, that little girl, I think she was Australian, was showing you how she supposedly got a micro C-hip and how she loved it and it was convenient and it was all good until she made a tweet that the government didn't like. They totally shut off her C-hip. She couldn't open her apartment. She couldn't buy coffee at Starbucks, and she was receiving all of these emails and phone calls for her to report to the government, man. And we know, you know, if shit like that happens, hey, there's going to be some courses of action you're going to have to take in order for them to turn it back on for you, man. You're probably going to have to go to a re-education camp, probably even be tortured, probably be whipped, you know, punished drastically before you'll be able to be let back into society and have your chip turned back on. This is where everything is headed, man. A complete digital slave system. And a part of this banking collapse and, you know, the dollar being done away with is doing away with your financial freedom and your privacy from the government being able to have control over how you purchase and buy and sell, you know? What is this? What else we got? Look at this. Chinese researchers are rapidly developing new breakthrough in 6G wireless communications, which that's going to be a weapon system within itself, man. You know, that's part of the infrastructure that they need to bring in this MOTB system, man, is that 5G, 6G, so that you can be tracked and followed and traced on every street corner, everywhere you go. But they have to build the infrastructure and this to have this type of capability to track you and trace you in real time, man, like they have in China. What is it, like fucking 50 cameras for every one citizen, all right? Look at that. Disarm the IRS, demilitarize the bureaucracy, and dismantle the standing army. I did a lesson on that yesterday. They're basically arming up all of these different police force entities. Like they're arming to the teeth the IRS. Who else? Where is it? Is this it? Yeah, here we go. It says, among the agencies being supplied with night vision equipment, body armor, hollow point bullets, shotguns, drones, assault rifles, and LP gas cannons are the IRS, the Smithsonian, U.S. Mint, Health and Human Services, the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, Small Business Administrations, Social Security Administration, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, Education Department, Energy Department, Bureau of Engraving and Printing, and an assortment of public universities. So they're arming up all these different agencies, man. Basically, government-ran agencies to ultimately to come against you American citizens, man. And that's why they're defunding the police. That's why they're getting rid of, they're making all these police forces to be smaller and smaller and smaller until eventually they're not going to need them anymore, man. Because they're going to arm to the teeth these different agencies, man. And you know what that's going to bring in, man? It's going to bring in that sure slaughter that Ezekiel speaks about. But you know what? I got another one. But like Elder Apostle Gabar was bringing out, you know, they got these different gulags and these different hired guns that they're going to release out here pretty soon to, you know, when martial law breaks through, man. And they're going to come and they're going to gather up, you know, to roll over all of you American citizens out here because they know that chaos is coming. They know that dark times are ahead. They know that they're going to shut down this economy, man. They're going to crash the dollar. They know people are going to protest. People are going to take it to the streets. People are going to want answers, man. So that's why they're arming to the teeth all these different agencies, man, to defend themselves and to ultimately be a police force to round up and gather up all of the dissidents and the people who are going to be looking for answers and pissed off, man. And this is all part of the anger of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, man, judgment. This is Isaiah chapter 10, verse 5. O Assyrian, the rod of mine anger, and the staff in their hand is my indignation. What's that staff that's going to be in their hand? Is all these different weapons, the hollow points, the night vision goggles, you know? You're going to have all these different militarized zones, you know? All these different agencies being trained to basically to round up and to kick in doors out here pretty soon, man. It says, I will send him against an hypocritical nation. Who's that hypocritical nation? You Israelites, you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And against the people of my wrath will I give him a charge. Who's the him? Esau, Edom. That's why you see him building up all these different agencies and arming them to the teeth, man. They ain't just doing it just for shits and giggles, man. You see? It says, I will, against the people of my wrath will I give him a charge to take the spoil and to take the prey and to tread them down like the mire of the streets, man. See that? And that's what you see happening, man. That's what I was just reading about. Let's go back to that article, man. See? It says, read the title again. It says, disarm the IRS, demilitarize the bureaucracy, and dismantle the standing army, which is why you're going to start seeing a lot more of these agent provocateurs and a lot more of these, you know, mass shootings going on out here. Because at the same time, as they don't want the public having assault rifles, AR-15s, but at the same time, they're arming all these different agencies to the teeth, man. Which shows you that this man is a hypocrite, and which shows you that he wants a disarmed public when all hell breaks loose, man. Because he knows that the average American citizen out here has 2 or 3 guns in their house, man. He knows that the average American out here is armed to the teeth as well. So he's trying to do everything in his power through legislation and unrighteous decrees to disarm the public by having all these different mass shootings and different shit like that take place to where they can be justified and eventually coming and grabbing up all of your guns and your arms, man. It says what? It says, among the agencies being supplied with night vision equipment, body armor, hollow point bullets, shotguns, drones, assault rifles, and LP gas cannons are the IRS, the Smithsonian, which is the damn museums. What the hell they need guns and AR-15s and night vision goggles for? It says the U.S. Mint, Health and Human Services, the FDA, Small Business Administrations, Social Security Administration, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the Education Department, Energy Department, Bureau of Engraving and Printing, and an assortment of public universities. See? Look at that. It says, we're being frog marched into tyranny at the end of a loaded gun. Make that hundreds of thousands of loaded guns. And I remember like 5-6 years ago, was bringing out that information. How FEMA was buying all of those hollow tip bullets. It was buying all those bullets with like serrated tips and shit. That, you know, when they hit you with that shit, it's going to ultimately just kill you. Bounce around in your body and just do away with you, man. And they still doing it from 2016 all the way up until now. They're still getting loaded and armed to the teeth, man. It says, according to the Wall Street Journal, the number of federal agents armed with guns, ammunition, and military-style equipment authorized to make arrests and trained in military tactics have nearly tripled over the past several decades, man. See, hey, that's that great slaughter that's about to happen out here, man. Should we then make mirth? So you, Jake, you shouldn't be out here partying and bullshitting and not taking these times seriously. Let me get a precept. This is Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15. See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil, you see? And the days are very evil, man. But like I said, our people are not in that right mind frame, man. Our people are just out here thinking that life is just going to continue to go on. You know, and we try to tell them these things are happening. They, why would they do that? Why would the FDA, why would the U.S. Met and the Smithsonian, why would they need guns for it? You're a sea theorist. All right, man. Don't believe it if you want to, man. Let's get this in the NLT. It says this is Ephesians 5. It says, so be careful how you live. Don't live like fools, but like those who are wise. I wanted to finish it. But anyways, let me go there. Yeah, but it says, see then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. See, it says, wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. Like I was saying earlier, the will of the Lord is what? To fear him and to keep his commandment, to repent, come back to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man. And do what you need to do so that when these days come, you'll be protected, you'll be shielded, you know, and you can be delivered, you know, when all these evils come upon the earth, man. It says, and be not drunk with wine, wherein is excess, but be filled with the Spirit, speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to the Lord. You see, that's what our people need to be doing, man. Not out here just, you know, living as fools and not understanding the times that you're living in, and not knowing that, look, evil times are ahead, man. Things are, you know, the future of America is not shaping to be a very good time, man. It's going to be very hectic. It's going to be very crazy. It's going to be very scary. It's going to be, you know, a lot of confusion, man. It's going to be a lot of perplexity. People invading one another, you know. People are going to be out here, it's going to be like a fucking, you know, lawlessness out here, man. You see? So let's see what else is out here. Try to get a couple more articles, then I'm going to close it. I got to be on the plantation a little bit. Look at this. Another one bites the dust. Investors warn of more economic pain after failure of First Republic Bank. And we're going to continue to see that. More and more banks collapsing. More and more people doing bank runs. More and more people feeling unsafe about leaving their money in the banks, man. Which is why this is what you need to be doing. See, because Jake think that having money and all this shit is going to save them, you know, but it's not, man. The money is not going to save you, man. This dollar bill is about to be done away with. So what is chasing the bag going to do when the money that you got in the bag ain't worth nothing, man? See? That's where Jake is going to take a big L. Now Jake, you know, Jake finally figuring out how this system works, how to invest, how the banking system works, how to really, you know, make your money work for you. Jake is doing all this YouTube and making money off of the internet. All these different scams and schemes, these women on OnlyFans prostituting themselves, getting the bag, getting money. But what you gonna do when that money ain't worth nothing no more, man? Here it is, you done hustled and bustled and put all your faith and trust in this silver and gold. But when it's when cash goes to zero and that money that's in your bank account is deleted, then what are you gonna do, man? This is what you should have been doing, man. This is Matthew 6:19. Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust does corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. Because these elites are going to steal your money, man. And they're going to steal it by ultimately pulling the plug on this whole financial system, on this fiat currency. Because all your money that's really in the bank, whether you have hundreds of thousands, millions, 100 million, is just a number in the computer, man. You know, real money is physical things like gold, silver, cattle, land, you know, things that you can tangibly hold on to, man. You know? So when you've been thinking that, you know, having these dollar bills and that fat number in your bank account is really worth something, it ain't worth shit. It's not tangible. It's not physical. You don't physically have it in your hands, man. You know? So pretty soon when that debit card don't swipe and that cash ain't gonna be taken, then what you people are gonna do? Because you haven't been storing up treasure with Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. But like I said, repenting, returning unto the old ways, serving Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai in all truth and sincerity. You know, doing what the Lord expects you to do so that you can have that hedge of protection around you and your family, man. But you've been trusting in the society, you've been trusting in that money. A lot of you gonna trust in your guns. A lot of you gonna trust in your own physical abilities, and none of that shit gonna be worth a damn in that day, man. It says, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. A lot of our people's treasure is in this money, in the dollar bill, not in Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. And so therefore, when it's time for you to try to go to the bank and try to pull your money out, ain't gonna be no money in there, man. And that whole thing that you had confidence and trust in is gonna be gone. Then what you gonna do, man? And like I said, then those doors of mercy is gonna be shut. You're gonna be out here just you're gonna be filled for the fire, man. You're gonna be trodden down like the mire of the streets, man. All right. Let's see what else we got. Look at this. Royal Reset. King Charles III plans to accelerate the Great Reset and other globalist goals. Yeah, so Esau is about to come down with that great wrath because he knows he has but a short time, man. He's about to bring in this global reset, man. Which this life that we know it now, this financial system, all this way that we're living and technology and how it operates, it's all going to change pretty soon, man. You're going to be digitally uploaded into the cloud, man. Everything about you is going to be based off of, digitization, man. It's going to come in the form of a micro C hip, man. All right? And if you don't get down and you don't bow down, you don't take your spider juices and your forced, shoulder juice, you don't, report to your nearest FEMA center, you don't, do whatever they tell you to do, man, hey, you're going to be left out and shut out of shut out of the system, man. Look at this. 280 million Americans are not prepared for common SHTF, which means shit hit the fan scenarios, man. Which a lot of our people are not ready, man. You see, the one thing that we're prepped, we're prepared, but through the spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. Let me show you. Because a lot of these people, they'll say, oh, well, when it happens, when everything falls, you're going to fall too. No, I just read in Matthew 6. We've been storing up treasures with Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. We have the names of Yahweh. Matter of fact, let me get that. This is Proverbs chapter 18, verse 10. It says, the name of Yahweh is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. You see? And that's what we have going for us, man. We have the names of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai and the works and the works behind it and the faith behind it, and the Lord willing we part of the elect to be able to run. When we call upon those names, the Lord's going to defend us. He's going to do miraculous things for us. The Lord said, my servants shall eat, my servants shall drink, man. So that's where our faith is. That's what we've been building our treasure up, is in Yahweh